Hello, welcome back to Saints Live. A disappointing result on the South Coast after Arsenal take all 3 points from tonight's encounter. Now, myself and Steve are still joined by our guests Dean Hammond and Adam Leitch, who will be analysing tonight's game. Dean, we'll come to you first. What did you make of tonight's performance?
I actually thought the performance was okay. Arsenal were better than expected. I think the heat played a part because Southampton's obviously normal game is high tempo, pressing, quick 1-2 passes. I think it had an effect, the heat, so it was difficult. I just felt there was a little bit of hesitation maybe concentrating on possession more because of the heat instead of playing that quick forward pass, making runs off the ball. Because especially at the beginning of the second half, when we did play with that intensity, when we did have movement off the ball, when we did have rotation, we did get behind Arsenal. There was lots of half chances, almost chances, really fall to us, to be honest, except that towards the end when Jack Stevens played a good quality ball in behind for Shane Long, who got a chance, a goal. But Arsenal were pretty good, I must admit. They had a good shape, they were compact. They played quick on the break. There were some warning signs. And unfortunately, the game was settled. Well, the first goal was difficult. A mistake by the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, when you're a goalkeeper, if you make a mistake, there's no one there to save you. So, like you say, a disappointing result. But I thought the performance was okay and Arsenal were better than we all predicted.
Yeah, it was hot out there, wasn't it? It was 30 degrees still at St Mary's at kick-off. Now, the second half was much stronger, and Adam, what do you think was other than a goal? What do you think was actually missing?
Well, I mean, second half was, as you say, it was much better. Really, I mean, the first half was kind of one to forget. To be honest, there was the goal was, as Dean said, fairly unfortunate. Obviously, a very bad mistake, but then it kind of played into Arsenal's hands in that heat because they were able to sit back a lot more and invite Saints on. I think Ralph did the right thing at half-time. We spoke about, do you go over Femi or do you go long before the game? He went over Femi again, didn't really work, so he did the right thing in making that change, I think. Valerie was probably the only other one that had a major question mark by him after the Norwich game, so he made that change. And the changes, bringing on Walker Peters and Long, definitely gave Saints a bit more of a threat, but it was still one of those performances where you just felt there's just that little lack of something from them, a little lack of cutting edge. I agree with Dean that Arsenal, they were better than we expected and certainly better than we predicted them to be, but it was just a real shame, and the red card at the end is just sort of a real dampener on things as well. Felt a bit sorry for Jack Stevens, to be honest. I mean, he was put in a pretty impossible position by a poor pass, and he's tried to get the ball, and you can't really argue with the decision. It's fair enough, but I mean, he's only trying to rescue really a poor mistake from one of his teammates. It's just one of those sort of nights, and there were some positives to take out, especially the second half performance from Saints, but I think too many individual mistakes really cost them a chance to get anything tonight.
Well, you touched on that red card there. We'll come on to that in just a moment. But before we do, we'll go back to that first goal. How frustrating was it to go one behind after 20 minutes in that fashion?
Yeah, obviously it is disappointing to concede a goal like that. There had been a couple of warning signs. Arsenal had a goal disallowed, hit the crossbar. Southampton had a few half chances. But the game was pretty even, so... And obviously, I think the first goal was going to dictate the result, which it did. So, goals like that happen, mistakes like that happen. McCarthy's been excellent all season. I just think that was potentially how the game had been going. There was a little bit of hesitation, maybe a backwards pass or a sideways pass when we could have potentially played forward. But again, it's the heat. We were trying to keep the ball, trying to keep possession to where at Arsenal, and it was just a backward pass that. The strikers intercepted the ball and finished it off. So things like that happen. Like I said, it's difficult for a goalkeeper. There's no one there to save you when a mistake like that happens. So put it in the past. A good result last week. Obviously lost to a better Arsenal team today. Obviously lost another home game. But 1 win out of 2 is not too bad. So still in a healthy position.
There has been a bit of rotation this season between Gunn and McCarthy. Does a mistake like tonight's put any question marks in Ralph's head as to who his best keeper is?
I don't know. I don't feel like Ralph will make a rash decision. I guess, if you're being honest, there have been a few question marks over some McCarthy errors this season. So I guess that this will be another one that kind of goes on the slate, if you like. But I don't think Ralph is one of those guys that's gonna want to hang anybody out to dry or seem as if he's dropping him. I think he would likely, if he was going to make a change, sort of make it in a more tactful way. But right now, you're also in that position of really, is there a lot of value in changing the goalkeeper? McCarthy is a pretty solid goalkeeper normally. You don't expect such a glaring error from him. Maybe you just have to, as Dean said, you just have to chalk that one down to, a bit of a rustiness, a bit of lack of concentration, and kind of give him another chance to prove himself again on Sunday. And then maybe if it doesn't go well on Sunday, you look at making the change after that. But I think for now, Ralph, the kind of character he is, I'd be surprised if he made a big change in the goalkeeping department now. And especially, I guess, as if you gave it another 1 or 2 games, you can try a Gun again if you want, and sort of say that you're kind of having a look for next season. But right now, it would probably be, I think he would consider a bit too much of a slap in the face for Alex McCarthy to drop him after that.
Dean, we were the main attacking threat in the second half, but we just weren't as ruthless in front of goal this time out. Why do you think that was?
I just think it was just a little bit lack of quality, or just a little bit of detail, a little bit of timing of the movement, maybe delivery of the ball. It can happen in games. It can just not quite there for whatever reason. There may not be a reason. Arsenal defended well. They had a compact shape. I must admit, their formation today was, a 3-4-3. Caused Southampton some difficulty. They were dragging players into positions they didn't want to go. It took Southampton a little while to figure that out. So, again, it's not an excuse, but the heat would have played a part. That sharpness, that combination around the box, when that needs to be really, really sharp, is difficult in that heat. So it just didn't quite happen today. Like I said, there was lots of half chances, almost chances. But I'm always one I'd like to give Arsenal credit. They bounced back from 2 defeats. They came to St Mary's, scored 2 goals. They played in a disciplined way, broke quick on the break. So I'd like to give them credit. And Southampton, it wasn't a poor performance. It was an okay performance, and just a small detail was the difference.
Yeah, we talked before the game about trying to expose Arsenal out wide, and it seemed like we couldn't really get in behind their back line a lot of times. Do you reckon we missed players like Gineppo tonight?
I think Southampton, if you're a team like Southampton, you're always going to miss a player like Gineppo. I mean, he's very high quality. He's obviously got a lot of pace, a lot of creativity. I think Southampton don't have the resources, obviously, of a Manchester City or a Liverpool. They've got good players still, but if one of your best players is out, I think inevitably you're going to miss them. And yeah, I mean, in that first half, kind of the point that Dean made before the game was quite evident. Like, Bellerin was obviously getting forward at every opportunity, and there were some spaces in behind there, but down the left hand side for Saints, for Bertrand and Redmond, but never really, other than 1 or 2 flashes, looked like they were going to get the right balls in there. And I think there was a lot of diagonal balls out to the other wing, and to be fair, Tierney was playing a bit deeper, and I think that Saints, Arsenal were wise to what Saints were trying to do, and increasingly so as the game went on. I think that's what was so frustrating about the manner of the first goal, really, that really affected the game, because as soon as Arsenal had that and knew that they could camp a lot deeper, they could be a bit tighter, they didn't need to be as adventurous, they could kind of almost wear Saints out in that heat by having Saints chase them while they just sort of played keep ball, and it worked because they did tire Saints out as well. And I think that was the real frustration, that kind of goal allowed Arsenal to approach the rest of the game in that manner, really.
Well, let's move the conversation on to the sending off then. Jack Stephens, of course, was shown red after his tackle on Aubameyang. Dean, how big a miss will he be for our game against Watford?
Yes, obviously, Jack missing. He's been had a very good season. He's established himself as a centre half. He's a strong personality within the group, and they've had a good partnership there. So, Jack missing gives someone else an opportunity to come in. He's a good defender. He's had a really good season. I like the way Jack plays when he brings the ball out of defence. He drives forward. He can create opportunities like today where it's ball over the top, good quality, but Shane Long in. But yeah, these things happen in games. It was a little bit of a wayward pass. He tried to react. He tried to do the right thing by winning the ball. Just that missed time and that little bit of concentration. But Jack bounced back. This is part of everyone's learning experience. Just another challenge for him himself. So I think we missed, but it gives someone else an opportunity to come into the team now and prove their worth.
Yeah, and looking ahead to that Watford game, they lost 1-0 tonight to Burnley thanks to a former Saint, Jay Rodriguez, scoring there. What do we need to do different then to get a more positive result against the likes of them at Vicarage Road?
Well, it's going to be a very different game to playing Arsenal. It's more like you're playing Norwich than the Arsenal game, to be honest. You're playing a team that are low on confidence, that are used to losing games. They haven't got the star quality of an Arsenal. They're more in the Norwich situation, albeit they are better than Norwich. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard physical battle, I would imagine. We obviously know Nigel Pearson pretty well. I mean, he was a manager at Saints while I was covering them as well. You kind of know what you're going to get. He's very astute in these kind of situations as well, and I think he'll set the team up well. Stephens being missing, I think, is a blow, but then if you're coming up against Deeney, a big guy like Vestergaard, it might kind of be a not too bad a time for him to come in for a game like that, and a game where there might be some aerial stuff as well to deal with. I just think Saints are probably going to have to try and get back to that Norwich performance, and I don't mean just obviously saying it flippantly because they won, but actually that intensity of performance. If the temperature was a factor tonight and things like that, well, that doesn't look like it's going to be the case on Sunday. If playing at home was a problem, well, okay, yeah, again, not a problem. So they've just got to really kind of just get back to what they did so well against Norwich and just execute that again, because I think if they go with a similar game plan, then again there's 3 points on offer. Watford are obviously struggling, and that's a bad defeat for them tonight as well.
Well, before we say goodbye, let's take a look at how tonight's results have affected the Premier League table. We were hoping to hit that magic 40. It wasn't to be. Dean, what do you make of the current standings in the table at the moment?
Well, it's still a very healthy position for Southampton. If I'm right, it's 10 points clear of the relegation zone. A good game on Sunday to bounce back, like Adam said, against Watford, a team that's lower than Southampton. So, I don't know, maybe Ralph changes his approach. Maybe he would consider a point being a good result, just to keep Watford lower down. And, you started the mini-season with a win, a defeat and a draw. So, could be a different approach. I don't think that will happen. I think we'll still go for the win, still attack. But no, the table looks healthy for Southampton because of that win against Norwich. So, and an away game as well, where we will get chances. It's just, like I mentioned before, the difference between the team down at bottom is as a striker finding a bit of form. And as Southampton have got good attacking players. So I'm confident that, we'll get Watford continue progressing for the rest of the season.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Dean and Adam, for joining us again tonight. Disappointing result, as we can all agree, but we do move on to Watford on Sunday. That's a 4:30 kickoff away at Vicarage Road. So do enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you then.